Hello, friends, and welcome to the end of the first. Let's try that again. Hello, friends, and welcome to the end of season 1 of Traveling with Warren Traveler. Today's date is August 13th, which is way after I've recorded stuff for season 2. I procrastinate a lot, and I've been putting this off, and part of it's because I'm not sure wasn't sure the best way to handle this video, and because I want to do this, and I want to have a little recap here, but at the same time, like, I don't want to do this. So what this will mostly be is I'm going to go over the 21, technically 20 trips per se. I guess you could say 21. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Per se from season 1. Let's kind of talk a bit about them. I'm not going to talk individually about each one because that would be like at least 4 or 5 sections on Cedar Point itself, so we can just do that in one big one. There's some ideas and stuff I got along the way while doing these. Before I get into that, if you haven't seen a lot of these, or you're just wondering easy way to access them, there is a YouTube. I do have a YouTube playlist for them. I've noticed that my park visits get a whole lot more views than my video game stuff, which is fine. Some views are better than no views, regardless, so that's fine. Just interesting that way, and maybe it's just the way they're presented, but I think there's just a lot more interest in roller coaster type things and, theme parks and amusement parks than there is, me walking around a video game convention or, walking around pinball machines and stuff, so, which is fine. Everyone has their own thing, so yeah, it's gaming's supposedly a very solitary, thing anyway, so maybe people aren't just interested in seeing that being shared. Okay, I know there's multiplayer and stuff like that. Anyways, so why have I been doing this? So I've always liked taking pictures, and when I was little, I had this like a little camera. I had disposable cameras and ones that you had to go get film developed for. We're talking back in like the 90s and stuff. I got plenty of pictures taken of people with their heads cut off and stuff cut out of the picture because I was really small and just wasn't aiming right, and also a lot of film over the thing too. So that eventually changed into I can do some videography to some extent. My dad still does have a big old Sylvania camcorder, that uses actual like VHS tapes, and he used to use that thing all the time. I can't tell the last time he used it, but so I started getting kind of interested with that, and then I like to document things, and so I went through a lot of years without traveling, without going to a lot of places outside of not going anywhere for a bunch of years, to be honest. While I was in college, when I was for most of my undergrad, let me put it that way, it took me 7 years to get my bachelor's because I changed majors after 4 years, so it took me 7 years. So 4 years for the first major that I didn't finish, and 3 for my English undergrad with the creative writing minor. And so that was from 2004 through 2011. And it wasn't until early 2011 that I really started traveling out. I'd gone to like maybe 1 or 2 Chi Alpha events over the years, and I only taken pictures and stuff. I need to be careful with that. I don't like the way that's positioning there. Let's get it back down a bit more. By the way, I'm in my Kent office, and none of these decorations are mine. These are this London poster, also maybe that other students' work and stuff. These have all been put here by previous people who have taught in here, or teaching here, whose office was in here, and they just didn't take anything back. My Akron office is has a lot of my stuff in it, but I'm at Kent today, not Akron, so well, doesn't matter. Anyways, let me get my list back up here when I'm going through. So yeah, I'm doing this extemporaneously. I don't have a script written out. I just got a bunch of talking points. So anyways, in early 2011, I used to have a challenge, and it's still a challenge to some extent where I either have the time but not the money, or I have the money but not the time. And it finally came about that the two came together, and I was able to go to Awesome Games Done Quick 2011, which was the second GDQ event. I didn't make it to the first. I didn't go to the first. I didn't know about it, and probably wouldn't have been able to go in 2010 anyways. And then I'll go right to MagFest right afterwards. I actually got the MagFest shirt for that year on right here too. Anyways, so that kind of just start, and then I was finally able to get to the Lads to Leaders convention, which I had tried to go to in 2010, but had decided to go way too late. That was in Indianapolis that year, and kind of gets bit by the bug afterwards. And it's not like I go to a lot of different places a lot, but it's more like the same every year. I kind of got a traveling routine, which worked out really well until 2016, and then I hit a brick wall with finances and stuff because my degrees were not opening any doors. So yeah, that was a problem. And so anyways, come last, I noticed so I got bit by the let's not use the same analogy here. I was my love for roller coasters was revived in 2022. I'm sure I talk about some of the videos at some point, probably multiple of them know me. And I started watching occasional videos and finding some videos and stuff, and and even before, so I gotta take this back stuff. In 2019, I actually did a lot of video recording for MagFest and AGDQ that year. Which, considering that I was going through a mental crisis of sorts with some between anxiety and depression and stuff, and it was a bit of a rough trip. It was a bit of a it wasn't a bad. I've had some really really good trips. I've had some really really bad trips out there. Going to things. And this one was just rough. I was also about a year and a half away from starting to see a psychologist, so I was quickly heading toward my crisis point, but I was about to also start getting some good help too, just in a roundabout way. It took me a while to get there, so that worked out. Anyways, so I did a big long video with that. Before that, I just been a lot of pictures, but I started getting the whole video thing because I was like, why not? I don't have kids to take videos of, don't have a life to take videos of doing things with some. I'm just gonna take videos of where I'm at and post them. And I did that, but I noticed then that when I started doing that over the next couple of times I was going places, that I just was getting less and less interested in, like, why am I doing this? Like, is it really helping anyone? Is it reaching out to anyone? So then and with the pandemic and stuff, I just kind of got really discouraged. And I mean, I did more pictures at some events and stuff, and sometimes like I just don't feel like doing this. But I decided I just needed to get over it, and if I could get myself organized to figure out what I want to shoot, where I want to shoot, and how I want to handle it, that's fine. So I want people to see what I'm doing out there, and I want them to see what I'm seeing, and not necessarily not them to see me, because let's face it, you don't need to see me. Hearing me is fine. You don't need to see me. It's more important for you to see what's out there. I also grew up pre-selfie. I'm a millennial, and I'm never been big on selfies and stuff and pictures of myself. So anyways, I'm usually the one taking the pictures. So that might have something to do with it too. And maybe I just don't like looking at myself. Okay, I don't like looking at myself. Even if I do think I look good, I just don't like looking at myself. So anyway, so a lot of the inspiration to start doing the park stuff really came from El Toro Ryan, who didn't do a lot of park stuff. He does to some extent. He does a lot more like analysis and stuff, considering he has engineering degrees. But that really kind of got me going with ideas of doing this and picking the camera back up. And I don't have it with me, but I use a smaller Canon camera, digital one. I don't use I do not like walking around with my phone sticking out to use for recording and stuff. The only time I've really used it for these videos or this was pictures of the Parthenon in Nashville. That's the only time I really used that. So, anyways, so I just use my own I use that little my Canon that I got in early end of 2015, early 2016. I've been using that since. So I have taken a lot of pictures and stuff. I just haven't necessarily made them all, put it all together. Sometimes, I used to dump like loads of pictures into Facebook from like trips and things like that, but not loads, but a decent amount. Depends on what it was. Anyways, so yeah, so a lot of this is to document what I'm doing, and maybe maybe it will help people in some way, and they go, oh, that's look really cool, that's neat. Maybe I want to get into that. Maybe I want to go there. Maybe I want to go to that event. Maybe try out that coaster. Maybe it doesn't look that bad. I didn't know it would be like that. I definitely want to try this out, or so. It's a lot of the reason why I do it, and two is just to keep myself a bit more engaged with where I'm at. I mean, sometimes I'm just like, there have been days where I'm like, I do not feel like doing this, and I just don't. There's other times where like I need to scale back from what I'm doing because I need to spend time with family and stuff, which is important. So, yeah. So, I want to thank everyone that's been watching these over the last since I started putting them up around May or June of last year. I guess I kind of decided it was kind of or I guess I did decide that essentially a season will begin with my first trip to Cedar Point for that season. So for that year, so the first set of I also want to thank my before I get into this. So yeah, thank you for everyone who's been watching these. Thank you if it's your first time watching. Welcome, hi, it's good to see you. I want to thank Kent State University and the University of Akron for giving me giving me work that lets me do what I want to do when I can afford to do so and I have the time to do so. Where essentially, if I need to go away for like just cancel class for a day or two and go out to an event or something and do that, I can do that, and I'm very thankful for that because I know a lot of people don't have that opportunity. Do I have complete control of my time? No, but I'm thankful for what I do have. So, want to be responsible, and I do like my teaching jobs. I really do. If I didn't, I wouldn't be doing them. So, thanks to also everyone that I've talked to on occasion at these events. Thank you to my brother Tom, my sister-in-law Sid for getting me back into the roller coaster world. 93 credits and counting. I need to update my rankings. Not that they're publicly available. They will be eventually. Maybe, probably. We'll get around to it. Not that it matters. Also, my nephew also for being a cool riding buddy. My niece is getting there. She's still pretty small. Yeah. And also thanks to my parents, too, for letting me borrow their vehicle. Thanks to my mom for letting me borrow her vehicle on occasion for some of these and actually just traveling with me, too. So she can do her own stuff. Have her own fun while traveling and stuff while I'm doing some things on occasion. So, yeah. So, let's see. So, we've had 21 videos, essentially. Technically more, but one of those is a 4-parter. So, 21 videos for this season. So, let's start off with Cedar Point. The first 3 videos were for Cedar Point. And so, we're looking at... I don't have the playlist up anymore. We're looking at May of 2023, along with probably mostly May, because I didn't go in June at all. I went in May, I went in August, I went in September, and October. I did not go in June or July that year because the way work was another scheduling and stuff. So yeah, I could talk all day about Cedar Point. It became my home park by accident. The only park I really had spent any substantial amount of time in before that had been Idlewild, and it's a big step up between those two. So it's been my home park though, and I'm thankful it's my home park. Four of my top 10 coasters are there. 3 of them are my top 3. Um, fourth one's around number 6 or 7 around there. I need to adjust things a bit because Skyrush is really making me think about changing that top 10. But not sure how much. Anyway, so yeah, it's my home park essentially. It's where I'm at the most out of all the places. It's a 2-hour drive away, and it's been really crowded this year in 2024, which is good, but not good at the same time because I don't mind waiting in lines, but on occasion those fast lanes look tempting. Except I don't have the funds for that, so especially not the season-long fast lane. So yeah. And besides, it's waiting in line can be a really good is really good for building social skills and things like that. Because I've had a lot of wonderful conversations with people waiting in lines. On occasion, I've read books on my phone. On occasion, I just enjoy the air or whatever, or just listen to what other people are saying. But the problem, and a lot of that's just because I travel the parks I'm at the parks almost always by myself. It's a single rider and stuff, so don't have any, so it's sometimes you get a lot of chatting and sometimes you don't. But here's the one takeaway I want from Cedar Point here, and I hope this doesn't fall on deaf ears, and I'm sure I've mentioned this before. I've definitely told to my family before. Uh, do not take your home park for granted, especially if it's someplace like a Cedar Point, Magic Mountain, a Disney or Universal or Dollywood for that matter. You know, do not take your home park for granted. I live in Ohio. This state gets, we beat ourselves up for living in this state all the time. We've got the best park in the world. Actually, we got 2 of the best parks in the world, in my opinion, in this state. Cedar Point and Kings Island. And between collections, and I'm not such a big fan of the food's fine. I'm not a big fan of the big portions of them, but that's just me. And I'm more interested in riding than eating a lot. And yes, I do take time to eat at the park because gotta keep the energy up and gotta stay hydrated. Water's a good thing. Speaking of water, I should have some. So, don't take your home park for granted. It might not be there one day. They might take your favorite ride out. You never know. So don't take your home park for granted. Don't just become. And don't go. Oh, my home park Cedar Point. I've been there a billion times because of gold passes, platinum passes, and whatever. 600 rides on Millennium Force. Woohoo! Don't have fun. Find something different and don't take it for granted. Just don't. Because again, you never know. Something could happen and your park might not be there. Or your favorite rides could be gone or something like that. King's Dominion. Okay, so this is the first time I went to King's Dominion. So this would be in late May or June. This was early June of 2023. As I look at a 2024 book, that's not going to help. Brought the wrong one for me. Anyway, so King's Dominion. I went on a Friday. Actually, it might have been late. Yeah, it was late. Just look this up right now because it will bother me if I don't remember, if I don't get it right. And I could just look up the video and stuff, but I don't want to do that. So let's see. No, I don't want the weather. I want them. I always go for the weather as soon as I open this stuff. I'll go for the. Okay, so we are looking at. This would have been. This would have been June 2nd. Yeah, June 2nd of last year. So. It was a Friday. It was hot. It's Virginia. It gets hot there. It was my first time there. Took advantage of the Platinum Pass, Cedar Point Platinum Pass. RIP, please. All park passport's fine, but I still like the Platinum Pass. I still use my actual Platinum Pass card, which I actually got at King's Dominion because I didn't have the stuff loaded in the app correctly, so it wasn't really scanning as a valid ticket, but they could check it in and stuff, so they gave me an actual Platinum Pass card, which I'm still using though. I have the gold passport, gold pass with the all park passport. So yeah, so King's Dominion. there is so going to a park for the first time is really exciting, but if you're trying to get all the credits in, it can be really exhausting really fast. And it's kind of can be a frustrating day sometimes because like even if you have it all planned out, it does seem a bit overwhelming sometimes. So I guess my takeaway for this, it's a wonderful park. Raptora is coming in next year, the new B&M launched wing coaster. Uh, they're going to rename Project 305. Probably slightly plan. I'll say, I almost wish that they just call it Project. Keep the name of the former Intimidator 305 as Project 305 and theme it more out to Flight of Fear being there with the whole sci-fi thing. So kind of like you'd have the kind of like how you have Area 72 at Kings Island. Maybe you have Area 76 or whatever at or whatever the number would be for Racer 75 or Area 75 for King's Dominion. I think that would be really cool. I don't think that's gonna happen, but it's just so weird because like you got like Tumbili here and my memory is going. My short-term memory on me is going. That's why I probably should have scripted this out. You got Tumbili, Reptilian. You got Anaconda over here. You got you got all these like jungle themes. You got Flight of Fear here, which is not very jungle themed at all. And then you got I-305, so Project 305. I keep on calling it. It's still I-305 to me. Gentlemen, start your engines. So yeah, so it's a wonderful park, and there it's I was surprised by it. It was nice seeing Dominator again because I hadn't been riding it because I hadn't been on that since 2004 when it was at Geauga Lake. So yeah. So again, my takeaway for that is plan out. If you're going to a park for the first time, you know what you want to do. Plan it out. What I did, I just made a list on my phone of the coasters I wanted to ride. No, I did not go on the Woodstock Express there because I guess in my mind, family coasters are meant to be ridden with children, and I guess that's not the case for a lot of them. That you don't have to have a child. So next time I go to King's Dominion, which will probably be in October of this year, 2024, I'll need to get that. I'll go and get that credit. So yeah, so but plan things out. Look at and don't just make a list of stuff. Actually, if you can, look at a map and kind of chart out what you want to do and stuff, and food and stuff and things like that probably, and it'll make it a bit easier, not as much as I need to get like 15 credits in the next like 10 hours or whatever and just run around all and it's exhausting yourself. And also stay hydrated, it gets hot there. That was June 2nd. So June 3rd, the next day I went to my first American Coaster Enthusiast event, which was Ace Dives 2023 at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. So I'd been there before. It had been 20 years. It had been 21 years since I'd been there, actually. 21 years. The coaster count had doubled, though Big Bad Wolf was gone. I never got on Drachenfire. I think it was Stamp not operating at that point. Same with the Wild Mouse, I think. So anyways, or should I say Wild Mouse, whatever they called it. So be open, I think, to you never know who you're going to end up hanging out with. Every time I got into an ACE event, I've ended up hanging out with different people or different person. Okay, there's one event where I didn't hang out with anyone for the most part throughout the day, and that's fine. That's fine too. I've learned to be okay just being by myself, as much as it drives me crazy sometimes. I've learned to be okay with it. It hurts, to be honest, sometimes, but it's not the end of the world. I can do what I need to do on my own. So, so be open to who you might end up hanging out with, because you never know, and have fun with it. I was kind of again in a rush to get a lot of the credits I didn't have, so the first half of the day was kind of very all over the place. Pantheon's amazing, by the way. It's one of the few coasters that I've ridden that I've been left speechless on. I love coasters, okay, but I'm just like speechless at the end. So I was like, what did I just ride? And I know I'm not the only one with that experience and that experience from that. So again, just if you're at the park with a group and stuff, Just take your time and enjoy it. And I don't know when I'll get back there. It's a wonderful park. It's probably my favorite park, to be honest. Does it have my favorite coasters? No. Is it my favorite park to be in? I'd say yes. And a lot of that has to do with the theming and the fact that it's just so nice and shady. I love Cedar Point, but the lack of shade through most of the park is just ooh. I know, it's right there on the lake, so trees, shade's not gonna happen. But just that sound nicely forested everything is there. Busch Garden as well. So in King's Dominion to some extent too, but. Okay, so after that, I went to the 2023 Pokemon North American Championships. This was in Columbus, Ohio. That was more of a family trip. Pokemon's okay. I haven't spent much time with the games, but my brother's always been into it. My nephew's been getting into it and stuff, so I went with them. Saw parts of Columbus I hadn't really been in before, so that was neat. Stop moving the chair with your foot, Steve, because that's going to drive people nuts watching. So, yeah, so sometimes it's just good to go and do something different. I got to do a lot of planning for MagFest 2020, Super MagFest 2024. I was there in terms of panels and do some other stuff, and so that was late June of 2023. Then let's see, June. So then the Monday and technically Tuesday morning after that, after I left that, so we're talking now July 3rd and 4th. I went over to Kings Island for the first time because it's just a couple hours away, from west of Columbus, an hour and a half west or so. And again, Platinum Pass, so why not? And same challenges as King's Dominion, where I was running around just trying to get everything in, and I did. Wonderful park. Definitely got some of my favorite coasters there too. Banshee and Beast and Diamondback. Oh, Diamondback's wonderful. Orion's really good too. Mystic Timbers was like when I first went there, and then I'll get into it later how Mystic Timbers went from 30s or so on my list up to around between 11 and 15 and stuff. And probably could be even a bit higher, to be honest. But yeah, so again, that was more of a solo trip. Spent most of the July 3rd, there was a Monday. Then July 4th, I actually went back there, got 6 rides in about 2.5 hours, and then plus the train, because I hadn't run the train yet. And then I just went home. So again, it's planning things out. And I did not get the Vekoma Family Hang and Bang. I didn't get the new Vekoma Family Boomerang yet because it wasn't open. I didn't do Woodstock Express because again I'm like, well, don't need to have a kid to ride these, and apparently not. So next time I'm at Kings Island during regular season, I'll need to get on those, and I don't know when that will be. I might not get back down there till December, to be honest, and that'll be Winterfest. And most of this stuff probably won't be running then. I don't even know I'll get down for Winterfest yet. I don't know. We'll see. Ravine Flyer Frenzy was next. That was early August. So yeah, the first Saturday I believe was in August. Yeah, August 5th. So, that's not Waldameer, which is by Erie, PA. I have some trauma associated with Waldameer, so it's really hard for me to talk about it. I'm glad I dragged myself out there for the Ace event. Let me put it that way. Because I just avoided that place like the plague for years. And I don't go there very often. I'm only going about once a year. But it's because to be honest, outside of Ravine Flyer 2, there's not much for me to keep coming to go back and rewrite a lot like the other coast places. And Ravine Flyer 2 hurts me. It beats me up. But, like, it's the only coaster I think of, like, I constantly get off, and I'm like, okay, where's the new bruiser, cut out or whatever. So yeah, I'm not going to talk too much. Waldameer is a wonderful park. I just had an extremely bad trip there once, and it's healing, but it's taking time. Alright, then I did what I call a quick trip video, which essentially was partially a Pokemon regional event in Pittsburgh, which again was my brother and nephew. It was fine. Early September, started the semester had started. I was kind of working on stuff with that too. Actually, no, I didn't work on the semester. I thought, oh, because I decided not to bring my laptop with me. Actually, no, I did. Did I bring the laptop? I don't remember if I did bring my laptop or not. No, I did not. Yeah, I did not. Because I didn't know if I'd have time to use it. So yeah, I didn't do any work pretty much while there, and it's just fun spending time with family and stuff. And then then I went to the Cleveland Pinball Show the next weekend. Now the year before, so I never went to the Cleveland Pinball Show until 2021, and I just went on the Saturday. It was fine. 2022, I'd been staying in an extended stay in Akron, so I was a lot closer to Independence, Ohio, where the Cleveland Pinball Show is. So I got the pass for the pass for the entire weekend or whatever for the wristband for it. So Thursday I've been fine. Friday been a bit busy. Saturday was stupidly crowded. It was just too many people there at once for me. And then Sunday wasn't too bad. But there's a big difference between being 35 to 40 minutes away from someplace and being an hour away from someplace, and driving that hour back and forth, and plus already having to drive an hour to Akron to teach. I had Fridays off, so like on Thursday, I had Thursday off. Why didn't I just do that? It doesn't matter. I guess what I'm saying is it would not have been worth the time and energy, I think, to drive back and forth multiple times, like an hour, for the entire weekend and stuff. And plus, because the way church schedule is going and stuff, too, it just wasn't going to work. So I just went on the Friday, because Saturday was going to be too busy if it was like last year. And it was fun, but I run into a problem with these pinball shows, and I'll talk about that a bit later. I'll talk about that later. Bit of a challenge I have. It wasn't as bad at the Cleveland one, but it becomes a problem later. It becomes to me a problem later on. So, anyways, a Pokemon event was fine. It's Pokemon. Woohoo. So I have Pokemon Red. I've barely touched it. And the reason why is I'm a completionist. So in my mind, there was so much I have to do, and just in that one game alone to get all the Pokemon available in the game and everything else, and just trying to organize it all is just like. My anxiety goes really high up. So, anyways, yeah. So that was that one, and so Cleveland Pinball is a fine thing. I might go again. This year. I might have to just go on Saturday, to be honest, because I'm teaching until like 3 o'clock on Friday. So by the time I get out there, probably like 4:40 or something. And at that point, people are coming in from school and stuff like that and work. And it wasn't too bad when I did the whole weekend thing, because I wasn't teaching on. Well, no, I was teaching on Fridays at the time. It wasn't bad last year because I wasn't teaching on Fridays. So, but that's not this semester. So if I go, it'll probably just be for the Saturday, and it'll be stupidly crowded, but we'll see. Or maybe I'll just go back to Cedar Point again or something. It'll also be stupidly crowded because it'll be Halloween weekend sun. So, next up, we're going to we're heading into mid/late-ish October with Kennywood's Phantom Fall Fest. I've been to Kennywood several times prior to this, but neither time had I didn't have it in me to bring the camera in. So, but I did this time, and this is it was a fun event. I enjoyed it. We got to do a lot of unique stuff. It was an Ace event. It was an Ace event again. So, and I don't think we're having it this year. I think maybe because they want more people to just go out to Dorney, I think. And since I have Fall MagCon around that same time, Dorney's not happening. One of these days I'll get to Dorney Park, maybe, hopefully. If not, well, whatever. It's not the end of the world. Anyways, yeah, so Phantom Fall Fest, again, just be open to hanging out with people. Sometimes you just don't know. Sometimes just having being able to listen to someone can help a lot. And I will say this over and over again as I go through some of these things, like things. And it's because I think it's very important that we learn to listen, and that whatever replies or thoughts we have about what we're saying next conversation, maybe just store those away for the time. That's going to become really important in part of season 2, and I'll talk about that later, to some extent. But you have to wait till season 2 for that, for the into that season thing, which is looking to be a lot shorter than season 1 so far because because I need to make better financial decisions than I've been making. So yeah. So then we went to the end. So then we go to the last full weekend in October of 2023. We're looking at the end of the Cedar Point season. I live 2 hours from Cedar Point. I had not, because of that, I don't get a lot of night rides in, especially during the summer parts because, it gets dark a lot later. And I don't want to be leaving the park at like 10 o'clock at night to get home by midnight and stuff. My body clock is like, my body starts kicking in at about 6:30 in the morning, and by about 9 o'clock is wanting to wind down, so 9 p.m. So I originally booked a room in Port Clinton because it was cheaper than in Sandusky, and they're like, Steve, you don't want to drive 35, 40 minutes back and forth every day here because that's just as because you want to avoid doing that because that's why you're getting a room in the first place. You don't have to drive 2 hours back and forth. And the way my teaching schedule worked in, I wasn't teaching on Fridays during the fall, so I had the time to do this. And I used some of the time too to before going to the park on some days to do grading and getting stuff set up for the classes and stuff. But anyway, so then I noticed that I could get a really good discount at the Cedar Point Express Hotel, so I just took advantage of that. And I was right there by the causeway, so it was awesome. So I spent the whole pretty much part of good chunk of Thursday night till they closed there. Good chunk of Friday, which was really nice. It was like 70-some degrees in October. It was awesome. The park got really crowded at some point. Like, I've had enough. Saturday was kind of cold and almost rainy-ish, and Sunday was kind of cool and kind of rainy-ish. And I was there from before open to beyond close, so it was good. But again, don't take your home park for granted, and also just try something new there at least once. Also, I guess if I want to go back to something I can take away here from Phantom Fall Fest and some other things, it is a lot easier to go on rides you're not necessarily interested in going on, that you might be kind of even worried or scared to go on if you have a group to go with, other people going. That's how I got on Millennium Force. That's how I ended up on Black Widow, which I don't want to say plan going back on, which I won't go back on by myself, so I don't really want to. But if there's other people, it makes it a whole lot easier to go on, with a group to go on to something. Because it helps build confidence, because you can see their confidence with them and stuff. Now, I know it's not going to work for everyone, but it does for me. Okay, so the end of Cedar Point season, it was fun, good, it was fun. Got to spend some time with family there again. Will I do it again this year? I don't know, because I probably shouldn't have done it last year, to be honest. But I did. So we'll see. So now we're heading into into November. Say the 7th through the 12th or so of November, 2023, Speed Gaming Live. As I mentioned earlier, my traveling bug bit me, and when it bit me, it had to do with video games, especially with speed running and stuff like that. I'm not a speed runner. I tried it for a bit. The VCR killed the tape after I got the perfect run of Knuckles Chaos. A very good run of it for the time for 2012. It would have been a very excellent run of it. And after that, I was like, you know what? I did what I set out to do. Did I ever really get it published or anything? No, but I did what I set out to do, and I was kind of going be involved in other ways with it now, which I've been doing, helping out with tracking races and things like that. Though I haven't been doing much tracking because it either conflicts with when I'm teaching over the summer a lot, or around the time of weekend, like, well, I'm at a park here, or it conflicts with church or other things. So I fit it in when I can. Anyways, I've been wanting to go to the Speed Gaming Live events since 2019. And I was able to go to this one. I probably shouldn't have, because where some of my financial problems started coming in here. I've never been good with money, and traveling is not a cheap hobby, and amusement parks are not a cheap hobby. So there's a reason why there's not going to be as many episodes for season 2, just because I need to be better with money. Um, it was a good time, and again, you never know what's going to happen. I mainly stuck with the Ocarina of Time randomizer group because um, that was my prime interest in. I only have so much mental bandwidth, and I knew I was not going to be able to spread that out into multiple games and sit there. So I just stuck with helping out with Ocarina of Time randomizer stuff, especially because these seeds are like can be like 2.5, 3 hours long, sometimes longer. Um, so yeah, again, had a good time. I did not feel out of place and lonely like I had a lot of other events, especially some of the AGDQs and stuff. So that was good. I felt welcomed in to some extent, but I also didn't feel like anybody was pressured to having to do things and stuff like that. And I could, if I need to go off and just get some, my own for a bit, I could do that with no problem. But I could be engaged, involved if I wanted to with launches. That was nice. Maybe next year, but this year it's not gonna happen. Nothing in person, especially because other stuff coming out in October this year. So, all right, so. Trip 13, per se. It's Cincinnati and Kings Island's Winterfest 2023. So, I found about Cincinnati at the Cleveland Pinball Show, and Cincinnati was very similar to it. I knew the hotel because I'd stayed there before. It was the Holiday Inn at Eastgate near Cincinnati. I knew the area because again I'd stayed there before. So that was fun. So that made it easy to go into. What made it difficult was that I had a sense that most of the people at Cincinnati were people who have been playing these machines for a long time. And now I wasn't there for the competitions or anything like that, but maybe just the way it was set up. But I felt really inadequate when I was getting my butt kicked by a lot of the machines because a lot of these people just seemed to know what they were doing, and they were doing it well. At least that's how it felt to me. So, as someone who doesn't play a lot of pinball and who's been more of an arcade cabinet person, and not necessarily good at those, I felt a bit out of place there. And again, maybe I shouldn't have gone. I mean, it wasn't an expensive trip, but at the same time, all the money that I should have had heading in there, I necessarily didn't at the time. So had to pay that back a bit later. And you know how debt goes; it just keeps stacking. Just keep adding to it. So you gotta get that down. So. Do I go back this year? Probably. If I go back this year, I'm gonna have to miss most of Friday because I teach that it's the last day of class, and Saturday's pretty booked because Thanksgiving and the end of the semester are really close to each other. I don't like it when it's like there's Thanksgiving break and then there's 1 week and then finals. I like with the 2 week gap, and we got the 1 week gap here. So again, probably not going to Cincinnati this year. It was a fine event. I just felt out of place. And maybe that's on me. Maybe my expectations were too high. Maybe my expectations weren't that good. Thank God the Eastgate Mall was open, so I could get a lot of Christmas shopping done while I was there. And also, I learned something too. If you keep falling asleep, feeling drowsy in the hotel room, turn the heat down, even if it's in winter. Keep that room cool. So stay awake better and stuff. Because yeah. So yeah, the Sunday I was out there, I went to Kings after Cincinnati ended for the year. I went out to Kings Island for Winterfest, and that's where Mystic Timber. I got 10 rides on Mystic Timbers. I went to the shed 10 times. Though they told me not. They kept telling me not to, and I didn't listen. So yeah. It was fun. I liked the atmosphere. I liked the way they had everything blocked off, the rides and stuff. The other rides that weren't running blocked off and stuff. It was really neat. Weather-wise, it wasn't too bad. It was cool. Maybe almost a bit chilly, but it wasn't too bad. It was early December, so it's a pretty good day. So I enjoyed that. I do hope to get out to that. It was a lot of fun, but maybe I do, maybe I don't this year. So let's roll the calendar over to 2024. January 1st, I went to Kennywood Holiday Lights, and man, if the weather at Winterfest was one way, this was the opposite. It was definitely cold. It wanted to rain, I could tell you that, if not snow. And I was only at the park for probably about. So when I go to Cedar Point or Kennywood, it's my goal to spend at least 4 hours there because I drive about 2 hours each way. So I want to spend at least that much time in the park, and I did not make that at all for Holiday Lights. The train thing was amazing. The not the Thomas train, that's eh. But the giant thing they had set up trains and stuff, which I don't know if I took videos or pictures to any of that. I had to go back and check the video. It was really, really cool. What lights I saw were cool. I actually left before the tree was completely lit up, I think. But part of it too was I'd walked 4 miles in that weather earlier that day, and I was exhausted from rushing to finish up the Extra Life Marathon for the year, which I need to get started again here. I started like in August, so I'm not like rushing to finish it in December. I'm so bad at streaming consistently. Sometimes I can do it for like a couple weeks and I'm good. Other times I'm like, I don't do this for months at a time. Anyway, so yeah. So it's a fun event. I plan on going to the ACE event for it in November this year, so hopefully it'll be a bit warmer and Jackrabbit will run, and maybe I'll get to see some other cool stuff. Then just maybe go again another time or two, but yeah. It's fun. It's really beautiful and everything. I just chose a bad day to go, and I was not necessarily in the best space for it mentally or physically too. Um, so now let's head down to mid heading into late January with Super MagFest 2024 / MagFest Prime. So again, MagFest was part of what got me wanting to travel again and go to things. When I say when I go to things, I'm not going to a lot of places way out of the way. I'm sticking with it, like Ohio and Pennsylvania and DC. That's kind of Kentucky, I guess, too. Well, I did go to Kentucky in 2023. That was before I was doing the video traveling thing. So yeah, maybe I'll make some stuff for that. Or you can see a bit of the Louisville Arcade Expo from that year in the intro video for season 1. Anyways, so yeah. MagFest, I went as an attendee from 2011 through 2013. 2011. So let's see, 2011, 2012, 2013, yeah, 2014, I went as an attendee. For the 2015 and 2016 years, I submitted some challenges for MagFest challenges, and I don't think they were ever used, but my badge was comped for those years. The reason I'm strong with these years is because when I think of MagFest for that earlier, I don't think of like MagFest 9 being like Super MagFest 2011. I think of it as MagFest 9. And, I think of so when I'm trying to think of it as like 2013, and I think of MagFest 13 or MagFest 11, which was in 2013. You know what I mean? Where they start using Super for the January / 1 or 2 time February event. I did not go in 17 or 18. In 2019 through 2020, 2019 I did a panel. 2020 I did a panel. 2021 there was no MagFest because pandemic. 2022 I did a panel. 2023 I did not do a panel because I started that's the first year I started volunteering for staffing because I was 6 hours away. I do not want to have to worry about the last thing I want to worry about is getting a hotel room. Preferably one in the harbor, preferably the Gaylord, so I don't have to figure out what to do with my car and drive back and forth all the time, which I did in 2020 and was okay, and I did other years on occasion when not being in the Gaylord, but essentially my anxieties helped a whole lot if I'm not having to worry about that, so I started staffing mainly for the hotel perks. So that's not a problem anymore, thank the Lord. So So I got my 30 plus hours of staffing in that year. Then I did about 30 this year, and plus I did another panel because I wanted to. I didn't need to, but I wanted to justify having to cancel classes for several days cancel classes for several days so I could go to the event. Um, this is I'm staff too. That gave reason too, but the panel makes it more official and academic. So did that. Videos and photos could not do MagFest justice. They just can't. You have to go. If you're into music, video game music, there's something there for you. If you just want to go and play video games all day, there's stuff there for you. If you don't like music or gaming and you just really like anime, there's stuff there for you too. Sometimes more than we want there to be. What I say more than I would like to see, just because I'm going to see more games to. I'm more interested in seeing more games to buy and stuff than artwork. But that's just me. That's not most people. That's probably not a lot. It's not a lot. I know there's a lot of crossover and stuff. I'm just not part of that crossover. Anyway, yeah, there's something there for you. You just want to go and play tabletop games, RPGs with strangers all day? There you go. There's something for you. You want to watch people cosplay around a fountain and stuff? That's fine too. There's something for everyone there. Old, young, male, female, whatever. There's something there. So it has to be experienced. We hit our attendance cap that year. And the attendance cap is mainly to keep things reasonable in terms of, how packed the place can be. So, yeah. So we might hit it again. I don't know. Anyways, it was a good time. I had my schedules pretty much set out to where I had times of working and times of resting in. I'm going to do it a bit differently for 2025. But instead of doing 2 hours on, 2 hours off, I'm going to do 4 or 6 hours on, or 4 or 6 hours off or something like that. Maybe just 2 off or something still, just for, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to try to front load it actually so I get as much done either early on Thursday, and then Sunday I always get a lot done. I get a lot of my hours in because of teardown and stuff. So, but anyways, it's a good time, and hopefully some of you go to it at some point. And videos and pictures cannot do it justice. You have to be there to experience it. When I see the Gaylord, I always feel like I'm coming home. When I'm going there and I see there, I feel like I'm always home. Like I'm home in some ways. And I don't have that feeling about a lot of places. So, okay. Last Two Leaders 2024. We're going from the Gaylord National in National Harbor, Maryland, to the Opryland Gaylord and the Gaylord Opryland Hotel and Resort in Nashville, Tennessee. Last Two Leaders. Last Two Leaders is a Church of Christ based youth training program to help boys and girls grow up to be leaders in the church, home, school, workplace, wherever. It teaches them a lot of other skills and stuff too, So it's an excellent program. I competed in it from 1997 through 2002, though I didn't do 2001 or 2003. I technically submitted something in 2004, but I wasn't at the convention that year because I was on my senior trip in high school. Then I just kind of didn't do much with LAS for a few years. Then I started getting involved more of in a training role probably around 2009. In 2010, actually it's probably more in 2010, I got more involved again. I definitely got more around 2010. 2011, again, I finally got to go, started going back to the conventions and stuff. So, and I'd been at one every year since then, except for 2020 because of the pandemic, and 2021 because I didn't have a group to go with at the time because the church I was going to at the time wasn't going, and I did not have the courage yet to talk to my former church, which is now again my current church, if they were going or not. So, yeah. And I tried to actually sneak in. I did actually email someone like, hey, can I just show up and help them? Like, no. So I didn't do that. 2021, as much as I wanted to. So anyways, though, yeah. So this is the first time I actually went out into downtown Nashville while I was at Lads to Leaders. Some of the people I was with, we went out the Thursday before things really got started, because things really start Friday morning. We got there like Wednesday night, because it's a long drive from Northeast Ohio. So again, it's a wonderful program. Again, so look into it if you can. They have convention locations in good different chunks of the state, the country. Most of them are in the South, to be honest, and the closest one to me is Louisville, Kentucky. Actually, no, excuse me. Technically, closest one's the Altoona one now in the Mid-Atlantic area, but we're doing Nashville because that's where they want to go. So be it. So, anyways, Nashville's fun. Nashville is ran so much better now than it was when I was competing that it's actually good to go to, because you don't have to miss your group doing things now, because they have the color groups doing different things at different times. So you don't have to necessarily miss your kids doing things now, which is wonderful. Which was the only problem I had with the Louisville spot. Sometimes you missed your kids, though. As I always tell the kids that I teach and help out with that last year, if you need me in the room there when you compete, you're not ready. Anyways, though, so did that. We went out to the Parthenon and stuff, which I did not know was there. It was really neat. So it was a good time. I was looking forward to that. It's probably the most important thing I go to every year. Alright, so then we head on to our 17th trip, which was the Total Eclipse of the Point. So this was April 7th, I believe. Definitely either April 7th or 8th. I might be off by a day or two. April 8th. April 7th was WrestleMania 40, day 2. Night 2 of WrestleMania 40. April 8th, 2024. Total Eclipse of the Point. So, in certain parts of the U.S. on that day, there was this amazing eclipse where, like, you could look at the sun and your your retinas weren't burn out. It was that cool. And Cedar Point decided was going to be right in the path to totality, and they're like, you know what? It's early April. We're never open during this time. We're going to take a risk and sell tickets and have a bit of the park open up and enjoy this eclipse if we can. And it was amazing. The sun, the weather was perfect for it, and everything. So it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I'm glad I got to experience. Here they say it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, which it technically is, but if you really want to follow these eclipses around, you probably could. Just, figure out when the next totality one is going to be in a different part of the world and go there for it, I guess. Which, there's probably some people that do that, or I'm just misunderstanding this whole thing and it was completely once in a lifetime. I enjoyed it. I was glad I got to go to Cedar Point to do it. The only regret I have is that I didn't necessarily have anyone special around with me to do it with. And that's the one thing that irks me a lot about what I do. And again, I've learned over the years that I do not need to have someone with me to have fun. I do not need to be married and such to do what God has planned for me and such, but sometimes just being alone for a lot of this stuff just, sometimes it doesn't bother me, but this is one more I really wish I would, but, so maybe I should have stayed home and watched with mom and dad. Maybe I should have gone to and watched it with my family, I don't know, but I made a choice, and yeah, so then I guess I could have gone to Kent and watched it with students, or maybe Akron too, maybe, but I wanted to get back out at Cedar Point, so yeah. So maybe that's on me. So we go a couple weeks, so let's say that's the 8th, so if we go down, so we go over to, should be was it April 20th? Thereabouts now. I might be off by a couple bits. April 20th. Yes, April 20th is, yeah. Yes, April 20th, Kennywood's opening day for the year. Biggest shock of the day. Steel Curtain's not opening this season. Okay. I'm kind of bummed about that because I only had a few rides on that. Kennywood was busy that day. Not as busy as it was when I was there a couple of days ago. Last Saturday, it was really busy. Like, ridiculously busy. I've never seen so many people there before. Like, there was a line for food when's the last time you've been at Kennywood and there was like a long lines just waiting to get food? I mean, it was like Cedar Point all this. It was like Cedar Point busy. It was ridiculous. I'm glad people were there and groups were having fun and stuff, and the weather was fine for it. But at the same time, I'm like, it's so busy. Anyways, it was busy opening day. Not maddeningly busy though. So it was fun. I already got my pass, my season pass set up and everything. Back in August, so I didn't have to worry about staying in line to do that, though I didn't get my drink thing until, like, July. Late June, early July, I think it was. Yeah, so, takeaway from this one. When a park takes care of its rides, you know that they're onto something. So Kennywood, a couple years ago, was like, we're removing a bunch of rides, and they did, but one of them caused such an uproar about its removal that they're like, okay, we'll fix Kangaroo. And last year, like, okay, we need to unearth the turtle. We need to unearth Turtle's, like, central support pillar and redo part of it or something. So they're taking care of their stuff there. Now, I know there's sometimes they get slammed for how their operations are and stuff, and I'll be honest, their opening day was not the best day. I mean, one train on Skyrocket, and you know Premier Rides do not have the best capacity in the first place. One train on Phantom's Revenge, you could see part of the other train just, like, sitting, like, by a warehouse or by, like, a shed or something, because apparently what happened was some of the stuff they needed to get the rest of the trains and other things going hadn't made it out here because of the bridge collapse in Baltimore. That's what one of the ride ops told me because I was like, telling me about what was going on. So yeah. So it wasn't the best day operation wise. It was also the first day, but things have gotten a lot better there since, especially on Phantom's Revenge. They know what they're doing up there. They got both trains running again too, thankfully. So again, just appreciate it when parks actually, because there can be a lot of things that are going wrong in a day in a park, but there's a lot of things that go well too. So it's finding that balance in there and trying not to let the negatives overrun the positives. So it was a fun day. It was a good day. So the next time, the thing after that was a week later. So it was Spring MagCon. So MagFest has several events. There's Super MagFest. There's MagWest. They have there's MagStock as well, which is camping. Then they also have a couple. They have a bunch of things in the DC, Baltimore area. They're like one night things here and there. Then there's MagCon, which essentially is a convention about the festival. Some of it has to do, and other events. Sometimes it has to do planning with it, things. Some of it has to do with planning and stuff for either the current one or events in general, or post-morteming stuff from the past event. I'd never been to a MagCon before, considering that the hotel would be at least partially covered, if not completely covered, if you bring with strangers or maybe people which is not me, because I meet a lot of people at these events, but I don't actually get close to them. So yeah, it's like I know people, but I don't know people. So anyway, I like having a quiet spot to be. I'm not a partier. I'm not a late night person. So for me, it's better to have a spot where there's like anyone. And I got a lot of work done while I was there too, which was good. Between sessions and things like that. So I'm looking forward to going in the fall because it's an affordable thing for me to go to, and it was nice being. It's the first time I've been in National Harbor in the fall. I mean the spring. So it was different. Weather was fine. So the day after, that was the 26th through the 28th. Then also on the 28th, I went to King's Dominion for the first time this year, and only time this year so far, which I never actually marked on my planner that I went to. Done. Okay. I got that worked out. So again, the big deal at the time was I-305's all called Project 305, and there's a whole lot of fences blocking off sections of the park. Mainly where Volcano used to be, which I never got to ride, but I've heard wonderful things about. So Having had most of the credits already and stuff, I didn't need to rush that day, and I just seen the video. I actually got to see some really cool transfer stuff going on with Grizzly. Because I decided I wanted to stay in the station and wait for the ride. Even if it took a while, instead of going back out in the heat. So like, the shade is nice here in this station. I'm just gonna wait here. So yeah. So again, just be open to experiences and things like that, because you don't always get to see transfer track stuff happening. You don't always get to see these neat little things. One thing. I don't know if I want to talk about this or not. Yeah, I guess I will say started. Okay, this does so. I noticed at King's Dominion, I saw a bunch of teenagers and young kids hopping the line and skipping the line. You know how it works. One of them gets in line. Goes so far up and five of their buddies join them later and stuff. Okay, I know that's not supposed to happen. I'm not condoning it. I also know that teenagers and kids, are very, like to flaunt the rules as much as they can. I get it. I was one at one point. Now, if my brother or I ever tried to skip lines and stuff like that, we probably wouldn't have been, one, we would have been caught, two, we would have been punished by the park, and two, our parents would have definitely punished us. So we didn't do that. Again, we also didn't feel the need to, because for us, a 15, 20-minute wait wasn't such a big deal. And to me, it still isn't. I'm growing up. I learned a lot of patience from waiting for lines at Cedar Point in the 1990s. I really did. What really bothers me, though, is seeing adults do it. You're an adult. If somebody in your group has to use the bathroom, you wait for them, and then you all go together. Kids, teens do that too. Here's the thing. If I try to skip in line right now, one, I'd probably get caught. Two, I'd get kicked out of the park. Three, I'd be kicked out of Ace. Four, I'd be embarrassed. Because I don't think I'd be able to get away with it. So again, adults, set a good example for your kids. Stop jumping the line. You can wait 5, 10, 15 minutes for someone to use the bathroom or get a drink or something like that. If you want to jump the line so that much, pay the money for Fastlane. And if you can't afford it, then don't jump the line. All right. And again, just parents, set a good example for the kids, even if they're not your own. Because here's the thing. You know better. They might not. But you know better. And remember, being in these parks is a privilege. It's not a guarantee or things like that, okay? Yeah, maybe you're there on a trip or something and someone's paid for things. It's a privilege to be able to go out to these things. These parks are not cheap to go to. Even season passes, you gotta pay those at some point, So again, just be responsible and respect the rules. They're for a reason. Alright, so yeah, on that happy note, thank you all for watching. And I look forward to what else I'm doing this year. So far for 2024 for season 2, I'm gonna tell you what's been coming up here, what's gone on since I'm several months into season 2022. Get my list up here on my phone. This went a lot longer than I thought it would. So we have opening. I didn't go to Cedar Point on opening day this year in 2024. I went on on the first Monday. So you'll get to see some of that, along with some Top Thrill 2 footage when it was running for the one Monday it ran. Got another video for Waldemar because Ruby Part of Friendsgiving was in June of this year instead of August. Hershey. I went to Hershey Park and got a lot from that. Amazing place. A lot of good stuff. A few great things and a lot of good stuff. Very, very solid park. Stupidly hot that day, but very good park. And got super crowded after, around noon. First couple hours not too bad, but then got crowded and it was some of those waits took a while. Some of them were still walk-ons, but some of them took a while. I never expected Fahrenheit to have that many people in line for it. Yeah. I did go to DC after that. with the students I was teaching over the summer, but I didn't do any video from that because I wanted to enjoy the moment and spend the time with them and my fellow teachers and TCs, teacher counselors, teacher counselors, whatever. I forget exactly what it stands for. It's an upward bound thing. Um, yeah. So or maybe tutor counselor. I don't remember exactly, but it was upward bound and it was great. But I didn't do any video. I barely took any pictures of it. I needed to keep track of the kids. Two, I wanted to just enjoy being there with people. And you know what? I'm probably gonna go back to some of those places in the fall before and after fall MagCon. So maybe we'll have some Smithsonian and more DC stuff up after that. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But again, thank you all for watching. God bless you all.